If you've been feeling anxious, stuck, and in your mind, this video might be for you. Hola amigas, I'm Lillian, and today we're going to uncover fight, flight, freeze, and fawn response, and how to bring yourself back into peace. Understanding the nervous system is super important because we want our dysregulated nervous system to go back into parasympathetic, which parasympathetic is rest and digest. That's when all our healing happens. That's when our body could recover and recharge properly. So stay tuned, because at the end I'm going to give you simple practices that we could add to our life daily to switch our dysregulation to parasympathetic, rest and digest. So let's get started with the fight response. The fight response will show up in your body as irritability, easily frustrated, get angry easily, very snappy. So what does that look like in your day-to-day? You might be fighting with your partner a lot. Your kids will be extra irritable, or they will irritate you a lot more. Instead of you responding to life, you're going to be really reactive. Everything outside of you is going to be irritating you. You know, traffic, people, how people talk to you, how people breathe, like even simple little things like maybe somebody chewing incorrectly. Another sign of fight is needing to control everything, wanting to control your environment, wanting to control other people, wanting to control the plants. You want to be in control because that's the only way you feel safe, knowing what your circumstances are. But the way to switch this is to actually you control yourself by being in a regulated state, and that way the outside won't irritate you as much. So yeah, feeling unsafe unless you're in charge. They could manifest in your body as tight chest, your jaw, the shallow breathing. When we're like anxious, we will become shallow breathers. What does this look like in day to day? Some of it might manifest as you overworking, or the wanting to be in control would be something like perfectionism, arguing to be right. You will argue for everything. You want to be in control. You want to be right without rationalizing whether you're actually right or not. And feeling attacked easily, so you might be very defensive. People's tone or anything people might say to you will make you react and will give you the perception that people are attacking you when you are just feeling really unsafe in your body, and that's why you're responding with so much agitation and anger. Okay, let's move on to flight response. So flight response will show up as anxious, not being able to stay still. This will be you distracting yourself often. This can show up as shallow breathing, tight chest. We close up when we are anxious, like staying busy all the time. You're avoiding, you're distracting yourself. So maybe feeling uncomfortable when you're not doing, so like the fear of being unproductive, right? You don't feel very comfortable with stillness. You have to be constantly doing, constantly showing up, constantly overexerting yourself. You just want to be busy. So how does it show up? As overworking. It's a way to avoid. So we're avoiding here. We don't want to feel any of the discomfort that our body's telling us and signaling us. We dissociate. We numb ourselves out. This shows up as you constantly being busy and jumping from task to task. You might be confusing this with ADHD, but in reality, you're just in a dysregulated nervous system, and that's why you're trying to be busy with everything, and that's just like a persona that you've taken on. And this is just a way to distract ourselves from not feeling what our body's trying to tell us. And sometimes we've been living like this for so long that we don't even recognize that that is what's happening. We're gonna move on to the freeze response. So the freeze response will be You may be dissociating, you feeling disconnected, numbing out. This can show up as you are in a social gathering and you feel like you don't belong. People are talking to you and you're in your head instead of present talking to people. This might be you being paralyzed or not being able to move forward in life. You not be able to make decisions because you're kind of stuck. You're in freeze mode. This might be you not knowing how to respond, so you will not say what you need to say to avoid confrontation. Feeling that knot in your, like, you can't speak up, you can't talk, you can't communicate. This might show up as you procrastinating, not finishing tasks because you're frozen. You're frozen. Yeah, a lot of tasks might overwhelm you, and the easiest task might feel like it's the most intense task to finish. So you might shut down. Like, instead of even getting started little by little, you're just like, you know what? I'm done. Nope, not doing this. So that is how the freeze shows up when you're dysregulated. We're gonna move on to the fawn. The fawn response is more so of like the people pleaser. You know, the people, if you can't say no, if you have a hard time saying no, you just want to overdo. You're really afraid of disappointing others. And in reality, we should be afraid of disappointing ourselves, but no, we are dissociative, so we're afraid of conflict here. We are afraid of other people's emotions. So have you ever had those circumstances, like when people actually pour their emotions, you don't know, you're like, I don't know how to react to this, right? You haven't looked into yourself, so there's no way that you could actually hold space for somebody else because you are already to the top of you're dysregulated. You are carrying so much within that you don't know how to hold space for anybody else. This might show up as over apologizing. Have you met those people that are always saying sorry? Sorry for basically existing. They say sorry after every sentence. This might be the caretaker, the ones that are always trying to show up for another, avoiding and neglecting yourself to caretake everybody else. You're running away from yourself. So this might be that you're in a dysregulated state. Dismissing your own needs, like you're abandoning yourself. This is a big one. Abandoning yourself, abandoning your needs. You're putting other people first, and maybe you've never done this, so you don't even know what your needs are, right? And a lot of this has to do with when we're in a dysregulated state, is that we are carrying so many emotions and we have been neglecting ourselves for so long. We regulate ourselves daily. Things that we could do easily is connect to your breath. We can literally change our vibration from fear, from anxiety, like from shallow breathing, like to like, if we could catch ourselves and be like, take a deep breath, we're instantly able to change our vibration. We instantly are able to bring ourselves back. Okay, let me like make yourself feel safe. And when you do that breath, talk to yourself, speak to yourself. Okay, I'm safe. Okay, let me see how I respond instead of react. So this takes practice. This isn't going to be a one day to another. This is going to be every single day, you adding little practices that help you regulate yourself. And when you do this constantly, you will be able to catch yourself more and more. When you get dysregulated, you're like, wait, okay. And it'll get easier because what we want is to be able to switch from mostly being in dysregulated nervous system to mostly being in parasympathetic nervous system. And parasympathetic nervous system is when we can actually rest and digest. And what do we do when we rest and digest? That's when our body's actually healing. That's when we feel safe. That's when we could start magnetizing and living and co-creating life, because we feel safe to fully be ourselves. We feel safe to speak up. We feel safe to fully express ourselves. So we want to switch from dysregulated to regulated. And the only way to switch is to notice when these things happen, when we get triggered. We want to catch ourselves. And the way to start is by little tiny things like, let me regulate myself. Every single morning is taking 3 deep breaths and asking myself, okay, what do I need today? You know, because not every day we wake up the same. And sometimes we might need a more gentle morning than a more rushed morning. So adding these little practices that support your body daily will make a big difference in the long run. It's like you're stacking, like you're helping yourself have a more sturdy foundation by being regulated most of the time. I also love adding the breath at the end of the night. So like breathing and releasing that stress every single night. Breath is a good way to regulate yourself. Humming is such a good one. Humming literally sends a vibration to your vagus nerve, and your vagus nerve is what you need to communicate for you to switch from dysregulation to parasympathetic. So humming, that vibration helps signal to our brain that we're safe. And honestly, speaking to yourself kindly a lot of times, like whenever you feel reactive, like wait, breathe, okay, I'm safe. So connecting to your breath a lot will help you. Another way I like to do is like go in the morning, first thing in the morning, like go ground, walk barefoot on the floor and just like ground and like remind myself that I'm safe. Dunk your face into an ice water, and that helps you regulate. Gargling water helps you regulate if you're dysregulated. These are little tools that could help you. If you do it every single day, you're adding moments of regulation to your body, and that gives your body that little break from being dysregulated to allow yourself to rest and digest, to heal. And the more we heal, the more moments of peace that we invite into our life, the more we could help and support our body. There's a lot more, and I'm going to do the series, and I'm gonna actually go deep into practical ways and different practices to help you navigate through this and switch from dysregulated to parasympathetic. We're gonna go over patterns. Follow along if you haven't yet, and leave a comment if this is something you're experiencing already. And thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. If this is you, there is a way out. With consistency and with awareness, there is another way of living. And this other way of living brings in so much peace.